This has been a long time coming. Y'all been working really hard on this. Today's the day that everybody's gonna watch and see if you crash and burn or if it works out. This is the test.
Wildorado's high school sophomores have created the Wildorado Cattle Company from a school project.
That sale is coming up on March 2nd.
For more information on the
Today's their chance. Today's their chance to prove to the world that what they're doing is worth something. There was a lot of people we tried to invite along that kind of hesitant and went, I don't know if you can do it, you know. Today's the day we prove them wrong. I grew up in southeastern New Mexico, just off the Cap, in a little town called Crossroads. I grew up on a ranch out there that my great-great-grandfather had homesteaded. I remember the day my father told me we were selling the ranch and we were done. That ranch was supposed to be my inheritance. I was going to be able to raise a family there and pass that down. My last few years in high school, I didn't live on a ranch anymore. And as I loaded up in the car to go off to college, my father actually said, I think you ought to look into being an ag teacher. And I thought he was crazy, to be honest with you.
Whenever I look at this small town, I'm reminded that big things start with little things. Something people would just drive by. Wildorado is 12 miles west of Amarillo on I-40. It's right in the middle of ag community. You know, mostly to the north is all ranch land, cattle and grassland, and to the south of Wildorado is mostly all farmland, and so it's very rural. And the number of people that it takes to operate the land has decreased dramatically.
I was born and raised here. My grandparents moved here in the early 50s. And my granddad grew sugar beets, which they don't even grow sugar beets anymore. When I was a kid, we had 2 restaurants. At one time, we actually had a bank, several churches. You know, it was a thriving little community. And by 2000, we have a post office, and that's it.
In a community like this, where there's not a city or a city limits, the only body that actually creates a community is the school. And you can watch throughout the whole Panhandle, where communities have dwindled down so small that they finally close their school, and once they do, the whole community dissolves.
You would hate to see it blow away. You know, if the school was not there, that's exactly what would happen. It would just be like sand.
In 1950, Wildorado had its last graduating class. At that point, we reduced down to an elementary school only, and we stayed that way until about 3 years ago, and we didn't have enough kids within our district in order to keep the school going, and we were passing deficit budget after deficit budget. We decided there was 2 options. We could either go until we ran out of money and close up the school, or we could decide to pass a bond and build a high school where we could get more kids and possibly have enough funding to keep things going. We passed a $13 million bond to build a 400-student facility. We built a school that has 2 wings. We built a high school wing and an elementary wing all at the same time. They use the same commons areas. We had probably 6 or 8 years of savings at the deficit rate we were going at. Inside of 10 years, we were going to be bankrupt. So we had to hope and pray that the kids would come. It's not like you build it and they will come. There has to be some reason for the kids to come there. Most schools decide they're going to set themselves on the map with athletics, football or basketball or something like that. And somebody in the board meeting said, this is an ag community. I think we need to focus and find the best ag teacher, and we did a pretty extensive search.
I was rodeoing and making pretty good money doing that, and not in any hurry. And one day I realized I had to grow up and get back on my vision of having something to hand down. So I decided to go into education.
We had a lot of applicants. And lo and behold, we were blessed enough to find Cody.
They told me what I wanted to hear, which was pretty much, we need someone to start an ag program that's unique and gonna make a difference.
It didn't take very long to realize that he was the right man for the job.
So I accepted their offer and I showed up and they said, well, what are you gonna do? You're gonna do this or are you gonna do that? And I said, why don't we wait and see what the kids and I come up with.
I've been here my whole life. I've never gone to a different school. Whenever I walked in these halls, there's only 2 halls, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is huge.
Me, Benson, Jake, and Cade, we all came from Bushland. We were there our whole lives.
Bushland was good to us until it started growing.
I mean, bigger school, it's not everybody knows you. We thought this would be a great opportunity to get involved in the ag program.
Knowing that we were going to be able to start it, knowing that I was going to get to be a leader and a pioneer.
I was born and raised in Amarillo, Texas. I grew up going to the school. I went on a bus out to the middle of nowhere and went to school.
I just waited around until I could kind of got a vibe for the kids and a feeling of what they were like and what they wanted to be like and their values.
We were at my house horse judging, and my dad looked at me and said, Jess, load up your horse, we gotta go doctor a cow. And right that moment, Bond said, oh my gosh, why, our whole class could do that.
We were on our way back from horse judging practice. It was me and Coach Bonds, and we were riding in the pickup together, and I was just pitching an idea about wanting to work on a ranch and stuff and run cattle, and he was like, what if we ran cattle at our school? And I jumped on board. I was so excited.
I was actually at home and Cade texted me. He was like, hey man, I got a really cool thing. I kind of texted some other people and everybody kind of started spreading the word by texting and calling at one another. We have athletics first period and Cade, he ran in the locker room, kind of jumping out of his pants, excited about the idea, telling us about it.
I could hear him talking about something. He was like, y'all have to get to class. We have to go to class. And we're like, why? He's like, Bonds has to tell us something. Come on, like we gotta go to class.
And I could barely get in the door without kids coming into the classroom going, so we're raising cattle now? And I'm going, well, wait a minute, let's just talk about this first.
So Bonds came in the room one day and slammed the door like every day, and I didn't think much of it. He stood in front of the class and told us to start listening. And he said, I had a harebrained idea last night that I want you guys to think about and tell me what you think. And again, it's just like every day, we didn't think much of it.
I knew something was about to happen because Cade was really excited. And I mean, he's always like really energized and stuff, but this day he was like super, so we all knew something was coming. Cade and Bonds got up there and they told us the idea of starting our own cattle company.
I saw something in them that I remembered in me, I guess. I wanted to share with them something that I remembered and cherished. I thought, you know, why don't we raise some cows and do some of that? There's a lot of life lessons, and those life lessons helped get me to where I am. Why couldn't it help to get them to where they need to be?
And there were a lot of mixed emotions, like Jess, Benson, Harris, Jake. They were very excited.
It felt awesome because doing it my whole life, I never really had to get to talk about it or anything. So now that I have a chance to, it's nice to do that.
I definitely was like, well, I have to say yes because everyone else is saying yes. I mean, I can't just be the only one sitting there not doing anything. I'd just be the odd one out. So I was just like, yeah, okay, I'll give it a try.
They're all like, we can do it. We can do it. We can make it right and make it good.
And I sat there and thought, oh, what did I do? Then the nightmare became real. Now I had to learn how to run a cattle company with kids. We reached out to the Texas FFA, and then we reached out to the National FFA, and then we tried to find some people that had an idea of some seed stock operations, and to be honest with you, we couldn't find any that existed in high school. And believe me, I was hoping to find somebody so that we could ask how they did it. So I hit the books and I made phone calls and I prayed to God, and He helped me, and we found the right people to further our cause.
Came to me and he told me about this idea, and of course I was all in already because I had to do cattle.
We were able to bring in Ty Clevenger, who's actually a school board member here, and he operates the Gray Ranch.
He came down to the ranch maybe just a few days after that, and we got in the bunkhouse and
we stayed up all night talking about this project. We put the pencil to the paper and had some hard conversations, and then we decided we were going to have a sale. And a lot of people said, you don't just decide you're going to have a bull sale. There was a whole lot of people that looked at me like, man, I don't know that's going to work. You're just a small town in the middle of nowhere. We have a unique situation where we are only up to sophomores, so our oldest kids are 16. Just starting to drive.
we started getting maybe some feedback from other seed stock operators or cow guys, and it is a hard business, and especially with Cody and I, we've never put on a sale or anything like that, so it was a big step.
It was very, very scary, anxious type moment, trying to think, listen, this is not an easy undertaking. I can't imagine how they're going to do it.
I did a lot of praying and a lot of, well, here we go, and I'm not sure, but I guess we'll just figure it out as we go. And I thought, well, somebody had to decide they were going to have a bull sale at some point to have one, so why not? Then we had to actually go into the whole, this is how we're going to make this work. In that process, we came across Brad Harris from the HBRV Ranch.
When you can see people who are looking to make a difference and are taking a role in leadership and have a heart for others, and they're not looking to just take themselves and put themselves at the front, then those are the kind of people you need to listen to. Instead of saying the reasons it won't work, I looked for all the reasons it would.
He's the man that we bought our genetics from. We bought 15 3-in-1s and 5 first calf heifers.
We didn't have a lot of upfront money for their pasture, so we worked an arrangement that they could bring their cows out here.
We brought our cattle down here and we went to AI and calving out and branding them and freeze branding and DNA testing. Growing our herd.
And they would repay us by, helping us out, whether it's branding cattle or fixing fence or whatever.
Cape Flowers is...
Probably... say to go on.
For lack of better words, a character.
I've always been horseback ever since I was like 2. Roping since I was like 7. Roping's my safe place. Being horseback is my safe place. My dad, he team roped. That's how I was kind of raised, was in the arena, less outside. Ever since I was little bitty, I always run around acting like I was herding cattle or branding cattle, or always had a rope in my hand, always wore a pair of chaps. just wanting to be a rancher.
Cade is in charge of the cowboys, so his job is actually making sure everybody knows their work rotations, everybody knows their jobs as we go into an event like this.
Today we branded 122 head of calves. We sorted their mamas off of them first.
He's got it figured out who's doing what. He takes care of the equipment. He's the top hand, and he'll wear holes in his boots about every other month.
When I found out we were flanking and branding, I was like, what is that?
Angelica. We call her Jelly. So Jelly's something else. She came to us with no clue. She's a city girl as it gets. She plays club soccer in Dallas on the weekends.
I have known Jelly since I was in pre-K. She is one of my closest friends.
So when I was younger growing up, I wasn't really around cattle. I was more around the city.
She's not related to agriculture in any way.
And then like the activities I do for fun were soccer.
She's an athlete.
Every night I'd go to practice, or every weekend I'd have a game in Dallas or something.
She has played soccer since she was 1.
Playing around in my neighborhood, playing soccer.
Since she could walk.
Mostly traveling on the weekends for soccer. Mostly my whole childhood was soccer.
When we first started this whole deal, he stared at me and went, "Great, I don't know anything about this. I can't do this." And I said, "I promise you, you can find a spot."
So I was like, okay, yeah, there's gonna be a place for me. But then I was like, yeah, he's just saying that so I would be in the company because that's just what he has to say. When I was just standing there, I was wondering what was happening. Like I mean, there was a whole bunch of mixed emotions. Like, first of all, I was embarrassed because I was like, I'm the only one that doesn't know what's happening, and I'm gonna be expected to do it.
We have the kind of an initiation. Everybody has to flank one.
I don't want to mess up or anything like that, so I was just gonna stay back.
Doesn't matter what your size is, you're flanking one.
A bunch of them kids that have never flanked a calf in their life. Step out there, show them how to flank a calf, and then be like, okay, now you try it.
And like, Cade, so I'm standing there by him, I have my camera in my hand. He's like, are you gonna do it? And I was like, no, I'm just gonna sit here and take pictures. He's like, okay, well, let me see the pictures that you take. So I took my camera off and gave it to him. He's like, okay, now go. And I was like, what? And he's like, now go flank the calf. And I was like, no, Cade, like, I can't do this. And so he pushes me out there. And I mean, I had to because I was right there by the calf. So my first instinct was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it and get over with. So while I was doing it, I didn't realize that I was gonna be, I didn't realize I was doing it. It was just all like a blur at that point. And then after it was done, Cade was like, you did good. I don't know, it was just a shock to me because I would never picture myself doing this.
We handle our departments very seriously. To us, they're jobs. They're not something we play around with.
Jessica Merrill. So Jess is, to be honest with you, she's kind of the boss, mainly just because she's bossy.
They looked at me and they said, oh, you're bossy. And I said, yes, very. I've grown up around feed yards. I work in a feed yard every summer. I process 700 a day. Like, that's just what I grew up around.
I turned her loose as the face of the cattle company.
He said, Jess, I want you to be head of public relations. And I said, what in the world is that? And he said, you're gonna keep our consigners and our sponsors happy, and you're gonna write emails to them, and you're gonna write texts to them, and you're gonna call them. And I said, Mr. Bonds, I can't spell. I can't do math. I get my numbers, I get my letters flipped around. I am very dyslexic.
She was a little skeptical when I told her she was gonna be in charge of our communications.
I thought, no, I can't do that. I mean, I'm just gonna embarrass myself. And he said, Jess, before you send the email, you just have me come read it. You have somebody next to you reading it. He said, that's not gonna hold you back.
So she gathered her up a crew, and they went to reaching out to breeders and consigners. We only had 7 bulls that we could sell with our calf crop, not quite enough to draw a crowd for a bull sale. So we decided, you know what, let's set a target on how many head we'd like to have, and let's start calling breeders in the area and seeing if they'd like to be a part of it.
Calling well-known consigners and saying, hey, come to our bull sale.
Hey Brad, do you want me to say Jess and Harris, or do you want to say your name?
Say it's Jess and Harris.
Okay.
Harris Albrock. Harris comes from a family that has at least one person in every segment of the beef industry.
I've been doing this my whole entire life. Ever since I was little, I'd go out to pastures, doctor cattle with my dad. All I really want to do is do ag, and I want to go to college to do that as well. Ag business major or something like that. And I thought this would be my best chance to get where I need to be.
Brad. This is Jessica Merrill and Harris Albrock from Wildorado Cattle Co. How are you? Good. We were just calling to see.
I was a lot quieter when I was growing up. It was a little nerve-wracking at first, trying to get used to the idea of calling somebody and how to like maybe introduce yourself or not make it awkward the whole time.
He's in charge of putting on our events, and he might have been one of the few that had been to an actual, just a cow sale and saw an actual auction. His job was to go with me to these other sales and other buyers' dinners, make notes, and come up with how we were going to pull ours off at our venues. We'd show up in a school bus at bull sales and walk in and watch and take notes and take pictures. We realized we needed to bring in buyers, trying to get people here to buy not just ours, but we needed people that would come buy everything that was at the sale. That way we didn't have things going home with the people that they came with.
Hello?
Brody.
Yes.
This is Benson. How are you? So I'm sales manager. I'm in charge of getting buyers interested and getting buyers in the seats at the sale barn. So I'm master persuader, I guess.
Benson McAllister.
I was born and raised here in Texas, around farm and even the livestock industry. I don't know, I was a baby riding on the tractor with my dad. Of course, I wasn't operating, but I know by the time I was 6, I was running one of the combines on our harvest crew. It's just what I did. I worked hard. I was one of the guys, worked.
He looks at things from a lot of different angles, and he brings a whole different perspective to the team that others don't always bring with them.
That group that works for marketing. Growing up, working with a team is not something I had to do a lot. Sometimes I would have to work with a few guys, but I never had to sit at a big round table with 5 or 6 people and hear everybody's opinions.
Find who makes the best pins.
Of course, us being kids, we faced many challenges. I mean, one being that we argued a lot.
40 times.
I like to do it my own way and kind of have my own ideas.
What if, like,
There's a lot of times me and Jess have butt heads pretty hard and really disagreed. And we're both pretty set in our ways and hard-headed.
We argued a whole lot.
If everybody gets one, then whoever's getting them buys for it.
Jake Kennedy. Jake didn't know as much about all this as some of the other boys did when we first started.
I actually grew up in the country, sort of. We didn't live in town. My dad, he grew up farming and ranching. I'd always hear stories from him telling me what it was like. I really grew up playing sports. I was very involved playing baseball, football, basketball. Those were always a big deal for me.
He didn't really know where he was going to fit in. Something I admire about him is it didn't take very long and he came up to me and he said, "You're not giving me enough jobs." He said, "I want to be somebody in this company. I want to climb the ladder." And I told him, I said, "Look, I've been waiting on you to do that. You're out of your shell. I need somebody to actually take care of the cattle." Because while all this is going on and we're trying to put on these events and we're trying to market the program and we're consumed by that, we still got to take care of these cows.
So Cody encouraged me to take the role of director of herds management and step out of my comfort zone.
He, along with Kate Flowers and Tyler Esmondson, are charged with making sure that we have bulls to sell.
Not having a deep ag background like others did is very challenging. Leading a group of guys and having to get back on that same level that they were on.
Me and the herd management team, we were going over the calendar saying, all right, we've got to have them born this time, so in order for them to be born this time, we have to AI them here.
It was very difficult, you know, the endless thoughts of, well, what if I can't do it?
He started talking about the company, like what we're gonna need. Like we're gonna need someone that can write like articles, someone that can like get our name out there, like for marketing.
The easiest way to ensure death of a business is to not market it. I needed to hurry up and get this thing out there.
I've always been really good with social media. I enjoy taking pictures and like making stuff and writing. I was definitely nervous at first and I doubted it, but it needed to be done and someone had to do it. So I decided to step up and say, okay, yeah, I'll do it.
She gathered her up a team and they went to beating the back trails, trying to get our name out there as much as possible.
I remember one time I was just listening to Benson have a conversation with somebody and she's like, yeah, when you called me and told me you're on the bus, I was so confused. And Benson was like, why? And she was like, because I figured that you're like an adult or something calling me. I didn't realize you were an actual kid calling me trying to set up a meeting while you're on a bus on a field trip.
Yeah, I had a lot of conversations where people were surprised that I was young. They'd ask you, so when did you graduate, or how old are you? And you tell them I'm sophomore, they almost don't believe you.
Some were right off the bat, how can I help? And others were like, not interested, goodbye. Some of them were harsh. They don't mess around. They're like, no, not interested. Y'all, no. They don't believe in us. They think we're selling Girl Scout cookies.
It becomes hard. It's hard to keep calling and keep getting no's and pick up the phone again and call again.
We asked a lot of breeders to come to that sale, and we got a lot of no's. And we asked a lot of buyers, and they said, well, maybe. And we got a lot of, well, you know, we'll look into it maybe next year. Sometimes it was simply, I don't think y'all can do this. The cattle industry is hard. It makes and breaks lots of people. You get hammered with a drought that was it was bad enough, it was hurting everybody. And through a series of divorce, things like that, parts of the ranch was broken up. We didn't have enough land anymore to be able to weather it. The drought was a storm that took us out. And now we got a calf table sitting out in the rain rusting. Hadn't been touched since 2003. And it just sits there reminding you of days gone by, what could have been. I can see where they were coming from when they were hesitant and went, I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if it's gonna work. It's never been done before. They're kids. My rebuttal was generally, well, yeah, they are. But expectations go a long way. A lot of the lessons I've learned in life happened when I was a kid. I was raised by tough people. They expected a lot from you, and you either rose to the expectations or you wish you had. I learned a lot just being around people like that. Riding horses, chasing calves, trying to grow something in the ground and trying to earn your way. I remember sitting at the bar in their house before we'd load up in the pickup to go to work. Granny'd fix me a cup of coffee and a toaster strudel, and I'd sit there and drink that and eat it with Granddad, and I'd look up and they had this sign hanging up above their bar that said, "We have done so much with so little for so long that we feel like we could do anything with nothing in no time flat." And I feel like that kind of sums it up. You look back and you think, those experiences and those lessons that you learned in life, those are the things that taught me how to handle the rest of what life threw at me. It motivated me to want to not just teach them about agriculture or the livestock industry, but also just personal characteristics that help get you through when life tries to kick you in the teeth. I wanted them to see that just because there's people that doubt you doesn't mean you don't just keep plugging along, keep trying. That relentless spirit that seems to echo with all agriculturalists that allows them to keep on pushing through the joys and discomforts of an agricultural life. If some of these kids can take some of that out of this, then we won.
They'd go to meetings and they'd be like, okay, yeah, Coach Bonds explained to us. And he'd be like, no, like Jess, Vincent, they're here to explain. And they're like, are you sure? Like, aren't you like the big person in this? And he was like, no, they're the kids. They called, they made this appointment. They're gonna talk to you.
That was different for us because we thought, oh, Coach Bonds or our parents are doing it. But once he said, no, this is by the kids. It's for the kids, so it's going to be by the kids. You're going to work for it. That's when we said, oh, okay.
I mean, and there were doubts all around, just not knowing how to market the company and how to work the software. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, there's no way that I'm gonna be able to do that.
It's different when you earn something than when it's given to you. You respect it more, you're passionate about it more, you push harder.
He's always told me if I work hard for it, there's a spot for me. So he told me I just need to sit down and do it, and then I would be successful. Once I overcame not being confident in myself, I figured it out.
It's so much better when they know they earned it and they come up to you and they go, I did that.
And I turned and looked at him and I was just like, just thank you so much for telling me to keep pushing myself and not to give up. And so I was like, okay, yeah, maybe there is a place for me.
She'd come up with ads that went into national publications. She runs our Facebook and our website and our Instagram with a team. They come up with their own YouTube channel.
Right.
So Jilly's in here almost all day long, every single day. But she works the whole time. So what do you say to that? If she's interested, I'm not going to slow her down.
We sat down one day and it was getting close to bull selling. We knew that we were going to have EPDs in our bull sell. He came up to me and was asking, if I was willing to learn about what they were.
We had to learn EPDs. That's challenged. But we made it. They understand most of them, I think.
I learned so much about genetics, and I don't really know what EPDs are, but.
However, I don't fully understand them all myself.
The actual, that was a struggle. Knowing that I would almost have to learn that, kind of on my own.
Sometimes you have to believe in yourself and just trust that it'll work out. When I was riding broncs, I learned that pretty quickly. You just nod your head and here the gate opens and you just do you. And it either works out or it don't.
Cody pushed me out of my comfort zone in that manner, making me push myself.
So before the sell, I actually went out on my own and learned the EPDs myself. It was challenging, but then grasping that topic set me so much further ahead and how to sell a bull.
I took the role to be the leader. Whether that meant failing or succeeding, I was still gonna do it.
The conversations get very high detail very fast. Questions about EPDs, and it's I have no idea what you're asking. Obviously, I'm just getting into this and I don't know that much. I would come to him and say, Bonds, this isn't working. I don't know what to do. You gotta go figure it out. You gotta find a way. It was always, well, I'll help you a little bit, now go do it.
My wall over here says life is in session, and that's why it says that, because that's what life's gonna do to you.
I found that it's okay for me to say I don't know, but I'll find an answer. And so at that point I can go to the adult advisors and leaders that we have and find them an answer.
My name is Jessica Merrill. I'm from Wildorado Cattle Co. How are you?
The way we handled the negativity was just kind of block it out, show them up. That's what Bonds kept telling us. They need to see it. They're not going to believe it until they see it.
I don't care if you believe in me or not, I do. I'll show you something. That kind of fortitude and that kind of mindset, that's what we had to have to make this happen.
He has taught me that if I want something, I got to go get it.
Sometimes if you convince them they can, then they can.
I'm gonna see it, I'm gonna go for it, and I'm gonna work my butt off to get it. We've grown from it. We really have, on how we talk to the people and how they respond to us. There was a couple comments that, y'all really think y'all can pull this off? And we were very blunt with them and said, yes, we know we can.
Once they realized that they had ownership and they were in charge of it and it was on them, whether it failed, they really went to work. And I'm impressed. You just throw them in the water and sink or swim. You'd be surprised how many of them learn to swim.
He holds a pretty high standard for us, and we're going to meet that standard.
Coach Bonds always encouraged us to keep going and keep pushing. It's kind of the cowboy way of life to not give up.
Sure, you get knocked down on your butt, but he's taught us to get back up and do it bigger and better than you did before, because there was a reason they said no.
We kept getting no's, so we just kept going until we found some yeses.
Those few yeses I got were like boosts of confidence. It pushed me to pick up that phone again and try to get another one. And then as I went on, the people that said yes would tell their friends, and I started getting more yeses and more yeses and more yeses.
I don't know, they're kids, it's a small town, it's never been done. Well, nothing's ever been done until it's been done, so watch us.
It seemed like we had like months and months, but once those months started cutting down, we were like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. Like, we need to get moving.
Tried to find all the holes that we could think of, made lots of trips to the sale barn.
Late nights, early mornings of just straight running.
You could see a different side of people when it kind of came down to that time.
We'd have people back out at the last minute. Then you have a major headache trying to think, what can we do, what can we do?
Didn't know what to expect and what was going to come out of this.
That fear of what if? What if nobody comes? What if this totally falls apart?
It was hard for me to turn it off when I got home. I would lay there thinking about different things that need to be done. It overtook me.
Wildorado's high school sophomores have created the Wildorado Cattle Company from a school project.
It was very much in the public eye. That's the part that was definitely making me the most nervous.
An agriculture class is taking hands-on to a whole new level.
What we've done is we've started a student-led seed stock operation.
Everybody asks, well, where's Wildorado? But we want, whenever you say Wildorado, we want people to say, okay, Wildorado Cattle Co., we know where that's at. We really want this to put Wildorado on the map.
The future of Wildorado, quite honestly, is on our shoulders.
We are hoping for the best. We have prayed for the best. We're going to go out there and give it our all.
I'm really excited to see what the sale will be like.
That sale is coming up on March 2nd.
For more information on
Everybody was watching. Those naysayers, the skeptics, the surrounding communities, all these people were looking to see how it worked and if it did work.
I believe in the future, this sale will be one of the most sought after sales that there has been, because they're going to see, people are going to come from all around and say, I want to be a part of something that's changing the world, because these guys have a vision to change the world. Not only they believe it, but their parents believe it, or they wouldn't be here, and this community believes it. So my hat's off to all of you. God bless you. May the Lord bless this endeavor. May His hand be upon it, and may you prosper in the future, and may the world be changed by what you do.
From the outside looking in, I thought, man, they got to be nervous. And I can't imagine how they're going to be able to make this flow and how they're going to be able to make it happen.
I had more questions than I was able to find answers for. Those questions kind of haunt you. I mean, I literally stayed up and sweated and panicked and worried and fretted, and I did a lot of praying. It consumed me, and looking back, that's because if there was ever a moment that anybody would find anything to take away from what we were trying to do, it was going to be then. I'm going to say a couple more things, and then I'm going to let Jess talk to y'all. A lot of people are watching y'all. Make hands. Make us proud, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, Jess.
Bonds wanted me to just tell y'all something that I told him this morning. One of the questions I got asked yesterday was, am I nervous for today? And I said no, because we're going to come out here today and do what we do best and do it to the very best of our ability, and we're going to make it amazing, and we're going to make it something to remember. And something that Brad Harris said that I will always remember is, this is going to change the register of Angus. This is going to change. This is going to change the seed stock operation. This is going to change everything.
We had our cowboys out there breaking bales of hay, feeding our bulls.
Thank you, Vincent.
There's definitely the realization that it was actually real and that we were actually doing it. We're actually having a sale where tons of people are coming to see our cows and see what we have done. Oh my gosh, this is the real thing.
Like we could move. We got in here, we got everybody positioned, said, okay, you're gonna be here, you're gonna be here. And at first it was like you had so many questions coming at you at once.
Hold on.
The video and online bidding.
Yeah, send a kid to take him up there to Tyler Cooper, make a connection. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. People started coming in. We had some girls in the office. They were, getting everybody checked in.
Okay.
had some, some kids down here in the ring.
I definitely, if I was an adult walking into a bull sale and I saw a whole bunch of kids, I mean, I definitely would be like, wait a second, this is seriously with kids?
Welcome to the Wildorado Bull Sale.
The buyers came in before the sale to look through the cows.
There were some very big guys in the industry that were there.
That buyer wanted to know some very specific things. And so we were having to go back through the paperwork with him.
Did y'all all these kids, what y'all did?
It's humbling to talk to someone when they're asking you questions you know they might know the answer to.
I know if I messed up, that looks great as a herd management director.
It was intimidating because, we've been preparing the whole year for this. And then this number 12 looking at you is a reserve grand.
That's this bull here.
Yes, sir.
If you can just slow down and think about what you're saying, and don't be afraid to ask them questions either.
What exactly are y'all looking for?
Oh, like on the Angus bulls, we're looking for something that we can...
You had to learn to bring out your inner salesman, which I didn't realize I had.
So if you want to see something that'll be a little older, kind of see what they'll kind of turn out to be.
He's got an older brother over there.
Yes, sir. We can walk down there and look at them. Tag number 5986 right here up front. He's another 10 gauge bull, just like that reserve.
Showing them that we know more than what we look like we know. I mean, it blew their mind and it blew our mind too.
My dad, he was back there and he was sorting and he was just like, I want you back there. He was like, you know it. So he's like, I want you back there swinging gates. And I was like, yes, sir.
And then about noon, we kicked off the sale.
Good afternoon. My name is Cody Bonds. I'm the high school ag teacher at Wildorado ISD. Welcome to our first annual Wildorado Cattle Co. production sale. We're trying to get you out of here in a quick and snappy fashion. I know most of you had a chance to raise some cattle.
We opened the gates and turned them in and started our bulls. And when a cow would come in, I'd shut a gate on him and just keep him in the little holding areas back there and in order for the sale. It was very intense. Those younger yearling bulls, they'd come in there and they'd want to tangle with you.
Yeah.
First bull going to the sale ring went in very wild. And so we were all like, oh man, this is how the sale's gonna go. It's just gonna be a big mess. I mean, this isn't gonna work.
So after the first bull come through the ring and the sale started moving, I finally took a deep breath and thought, okay, well, it's all over but the crying now, so we'll just keep rolling. We're gonna do this. It's working.
We looked up in the stands at one point where we were all standing down there and we went, it's full. The stands are full. There's not a Wildorado kid up there and the stands are full.
And sure enough, we get right down to the sale and things start clicking and it just flowed.
After the first couple went in and kind of calmed down, I was like, all right, we can do this. I mean, this is what it's gonna be like. We got this.
The kids are absolutely amazing.
We kind of came together and said, why are we freaking out when this is what we've been working up towards?
I calmed down and relaxed more because we made this sale happen, so I knew that we could have a successful sale.
Confident. That's the part that's hard to imagine, the kids that age having that type of confidence.
He bought the main one we were talking to him about.
Very cool, knowing that I sold in that bull.
It's like they're not scared of anything. They'll just go tackle it and go.
That last bull came through and they stopped bidding. And it was kind of shocking to realize that it was all over right there.
We're currently trying to get all the bulls with people that bought them and just the money and stuff sorted out.
I was standing out there helping load bulls and try to figure out the logistics behind all that, and it kind of finally hit me in the face, and it was like a Mack truck. I realized that we had actually survived it and that it worked.
It was very well done. It was pretty amazing that it was able to come together like it did.
The auctioneer did come up to us after and he said, I've been to a lot of sales. This has ran smoother than a lot of the 10th year sales I've been to.
It's amazing where they have come from in a year's time, from just an idea in 18 months to putting on a successful bull sale and competing with people that have been doing it for generations, for years.
I don't have the words to express how proud I am of what they managed to pull off, especially with no clue to start with.
So something that's being done in a small scale is actually affecting something in a great and larger scale. You see a community that has come together, they've built a new school.
Meet the teacher night, they walk in and you go, hey, welcome, nice to meet you. And you say, we have this thing here called Wildorado Cattle Co. I'm not sure if you've heard about it. And they go, yeah, that's why we're here.
Probably 300 or 400 mile radius. People have heard about this and are coming together.
I'm very glad to say that it worked. Because of the cattle company drawing students in, we began receiving transfers from Amarillo and filling up our classes, and that's what's kept the Wildorado School going. And we just passed our balanced budget for the first time in 10 years. What we dreamed of, keeping the community together, is now causing the community to grow.
It's obviously shined a light on Wildorado. It's brought new faces and new families to our community. People are building homes.
The interest is growing even more every day.
I'd like to say thank you all for coming. We appreciate that you're all here to celebrate with us the year that these students have had. We have had quite a lot of firsts. I think that says something about the relentless character that these kids have. They have a lot of heart. They don't take no for an answer. When they set their mind to something and they get a vision in their heart, it's hard to stop them.
They're different. They're completely different kids, really, to be honest with you.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Jilly had no clue when we started. Now she's running our entire marketing team and looking at a career in agricultural marketing.
I mean, it's changed my life. Knowing that I can do things, even like if I don't know what it is yet. Like, I just need to give it a try because I'm good at things that I didn't even know I could be good at.
The owl is a time, honor, and emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you.
Harris Albrock started off real quiet and reserved, and now he's been more and more willing to step out of his shell. I'm excited to see what he's going to do with his future.
I'm a lot more comfortable talking to people. I wasn't very good at that before. And that's a big part of what I want to do. I want to be in agribusiness.
Your duty's there.
Through this door, past many friends of the FFA, it is my duty.
Jake, he didn't really grow up around it, and now he's running his own crew and learning how to manage cattle and looking at that as a possible avenue for a career for him.
He pushed me to step out of my comfort zone and take that role because he knew that I would end up believing in myself. So he believed in me.
The plow is a symbol of labor and
Benson McAllister. When we first started this deal, he thought he was the only one that knew anything. He's since learned that he has a lot to learn as well.
The more I do in the cattle company, the more I realize I don't know. I had to learn how to work with a team. And that's trust in your teammate. I trust all those people with everything.
We are now holding the meeting of the Wildorado FFA chapter. Mr. Vice President.
Just is dyslexic.
My learning disability didn't get to affect me.
She never faltered.
I can see now that I can talk. That is a gift I have, and that is a gift God gave me, so I am sure dang gonna use it, and I know that I can make big changes in this world.
All I've ever wanted to do when I was a kid was ranch and work on a ranch. I called Ty a couple months ago and I asked him for a job because I was looking for one in the summer. And he's like, yeah, we've got a spot for you. And so I'm gonna come out here and work for him this summer.
The kind of personality I have, I'm always watching people and going, what are they getting out of this? What's their motive? What is their reasoning and stuff?
It starts ripples, like a rock being thrown in a pond. To take livestock and use it as a tool to help teach these kids values. I remember growing up watching my grandfather and emulating him, and I remember the things that I carry with me every day, and thank God that he passed down to me that made me the man that I am.
I was planning on being able to hand down the family homestead to my kids. And I've got a daughter on the way now that'll never get to see that. But in a way, this allows me to hand it down to even more than just my kids.
We're gonna come out just straight across with our ag building, and it'll actually be where we're standing. There'll be a driveway right here for you to get back behind it.
You know, he's changed lives already, and this is his second year here.
It's about the legacy that you leave. I'm glad that there's something out there that I was able to do that was able to contribute, but I want to make sure, I mean, it's not about me. And it's not even about this specific group of kids, it's about all of us. The community of Wildorado, man, the rest of us that need something to eat and a place to live and a life to live. And I just hope that it helps.